Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. This is going to be your astrological monthly overview for the month of March. I'm glad to be doing another video. I know it's been kind of a while. I know I'm doing this a little late. I've been basically working for the last 2 weeks and haven't had a lot of time, actually days off and time to do any of this stuff. So my apologies there, guys. But I'm doing this now, and we are finally going to get into the month of March. And this month, as you can see, I have a new kind of setup that I'm trying to try out. I drew the chart here, and I have my whiteboard. You can see all the planets, where they're at right now. We got this little stellium right here in Aquarius, Pluto, Mars, and Venus. In Pisces, we have Mercury, the Sun, Saturn, and Neptune. Over here in Aries, we have Chiron in the North Node. South Node is in Libra. The Moon right now is in Sagittarius at the moment. And then we have Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. So I'm gonna show you this, and I'm also gonna show you the calendar, the illustration that I drew. This is everything happening in the month of March. This is a big month, guys. I'm telling you, there's a few, big weeks, the first week, and then towards the end of the week, there's a few, kind of scattered things, but it might not look like a lot of stuff, but this month is going to be crazy, guys. Not really crazy in a bad way, but just like things are going to be changing. And that is because of this. Where's it at? Over here. Wait, right here. I'm all over the place. The lunar eclipse and Libra on March 25th. We're entering eclipse season, guys. So that means the whole month of March, like the general overview energy, is going to be, ramping up. The energy is going to be higher than usual. Usually when we get, closer and closer to the eclipse season or an eclipse, day, usually like 4 to 6 weeks before the actual eclipse, we could start feeling things like start to change and start to just something's about to change and something's about to shift our lives in like major ways or something. There's going to be a solar eclipse in April, the next month. It's going to be in Aries, but we'll talk about that in the next month. But this month, this is March. We're in the third month of 2024. As you can see, this is I'm still kind of blown away that we're already in March already. It's just like, come on, like things are just fast paced right now. It's like everything's moving fast. And speaking of fast paced, we've been kind of in this, period since, the beginning of January when Mercury went direct on like the 1st and 2nd of January. Everything from that point was like, moving forward. All the planets were, starting to change from retrograde to direct. We had Jupiter basically stationing direct on like the last day of December, and then basically the next day Mercury went direct. And throughout January things started picking up. You could probably tell. And then we got into February, and there was like no planets in retrograde or shadow. Like Uranus went direct on the end of January, so basically all of February was just new territory, a full like steam ahead basically. So now that we're in March, let me get this right. So basically, up to when is that? The 20th. So the March 1st, all the way through March 20th, will be this continuation of this fast-paced, motion of no planets in retrograde. But as we get to March 20th, that's when Mercury is going to enter its pre-shadow retrograde territory. So from March 20th all the way through to like April 1st is going to be the period of Mercury retrograde territory or something like that, okay? So whatever happens basically as we get into Aries season and towards the end of the month after like the 19th or whatever, the 20th, that's going to be the time to like, things are going to start slowing down, I should say, before I should actually say things are about to change. So basically the first half of the month, fast pace, continue putting the plans into action, go, go, go kind of energy. The 20th through the end of the rest of the month, basically the last 10 days, that's going to be the point where it's like, okay, we need to slow down. Things are about to, change for us. We're going to have to pay attention to anything important that's going to be happening as we get towards the end of March. and then into April and stuff like that. Because in April, that's going to be the point where things will be like, okay, this is what we got to review, like this is what we got to change. This is what we got to review. This is what we have to like redo or do things over maybe twice or three times or maybe four times to get it like, triple check on things just to get things in order. Because Mercury's basically going in retrograde, basically starting April 1st. Not sure when it stops it, but we'll get to that. But this is kind of like an overview of where we're heading into over this month and into spring. Basically, the spring, we end the winter season and into the spring. So that's kind of the general vibe. I mean, you can see kind of like the first kind of like full week. There's like couple, couple harsh aspects. Venus is going to be forming a square to Uranus. It's going to kind of create chaos in our, relationships. A lot of disruptions or just something through our finances as well. That's going to be, bring a lot of chaos, not really chaotic energy. That sounds scary, but this will just kind of just be like, you know, maybe we need to shift something when it comes to relationships, and we need to do it in a drastic way, basically, because it's Uranus. Nobody knows what Uranus will bring to the table. It's explosive, it's disruptive, it's instability, stuff like that. Like it's unstable. Is that the right word? I don't know. Stuff like that. But the first couple of days, I mean, I'm gonna talk about this, but like the sun is making a basically a sextile to Jupiter. That's very positive. That's very hopeful. Stuff like that. So let me kind of like, I guess we can like kind of go both. I can like show you this and show you the chart, I guess, or whatever. So I mean, okay, we'll start. We'll go day by day and stuff like that. So. The sun is in Pisces right now. It's forming, the first couple days of the month, forming that sextile, the 60-degree angle to Jupiter. Like I said, it's very hopeful. It's very positive. It's a little opportunity to really, make something of this energy. The sun's in Pisces, kind of very, it's very fluid. It's very emotional. It's kind of going with the flow. It's changing the seasons. It's just putting our vital spotlight onto like just being more adaptable. Hold on, let me get I got my notes here. I mean, we can be more sensitive, kind of like more of an introvert type of energy, spiritual stuff like that, Pisces stuff. You know how it is. But forming sextile to Jupiter in Taurus, this can bring some growth here, and like through like I don't know, like it's water and earth. It's water, like Pisces water sign, Taurus earth sign. It just goes good together. It just mixes well. It's like, a sextile is something that mixes, well with other elements that combine pretty good with it. So it's a little growth aspect basically. So and then we get to the next couple of days, which is the Venus square Uranus. You can see up here Venus is in Aquarius. She's kind of Venus in Aquarius. Like any planet, I feel like that goes in the sign of Aquarius is kind of just like it has this different kind of like outsider kind of vibe to it. The Venus, the planet of love, romance, affection, pleasures, like just all that stuff to do with love and relationships and finances. In the sign of Aquarius, I would say, it's kind of like it has like this, like it wants to be a part of the group, basically. I assume. It values, communities, friendships, just people to just connect with. I feel like whatever. Making a 90-degree angle to Uranus and Taurus. These are two fixed signs, guys. So nothing's going to be moving, pretty quickly. Nothing's going to change fast, first of all. So maybe that's what brings the disruption, because, Uranus has been in Taurus since like 2018. So, and it has about maybe a year left. Like we're almost done with Uranus and Taurus, which is kind of crazy to think of because it feels like Uranus has been in Taurus forever. But yeah, so Venus square Uranus is going to bring a lot of disruptions, or could bring a lot of disruptions in your relationships or how you're connecting with people. But there could be a little like this could liberate you from like old relationship patterns that you've been maybe possibly doing over your time, or if you've been in a relationship or anything like that. But a lot of disruptions, a lot of like breaking free from stuff like that, like basically what I was saying. So the next big aspect happening would be Mercury making a conjunction to Neptune. You can see in the chart Mercury is in Pisces as well as Neptune, Saturn, and the Sun. There goes my marker. We're just going to let that go. Okay, so Mercury conjunct Mercury conjunct Neptune is an interesting transit. I mean, Mercury's already in its fall in Pisces, so I mean, there's a little bit of like this like not really feeling clear on a lot of stuff. Oh, sorry, hold on, let me just kind of put my calendar down. Mercury in Pisces, gets a little lost in the sauce, and 1 second, okay, and Mercury is in Pisces. It's very hopeful, it's very big picture, kind of just like like it's kind of like expressing your feelings, like how I don't know, like kind of it expresses its energy through like through intuition, stuff like that. It's really good at like you know expressing your intuition of what you're feeling, and having Mercury conjunct Neptune, it's gonna bring like a little bit of like lost in the sauce kind of energy. Ignore my neighbor's dog. But like Mercury, when Mercury is conjunct to Neptune, there's going to be a lot of like maybe deception going on. You might feel like you're getting this is like kind of like a victimhood, transit or whatever you're feeling. Maybe like guilty about certain things, but this could also, if you're looking on the positive side, I would say this is a great time to like really get into spirituality or do anything spiritual and stuff like that. Because like Mercury is basically giving Neptune this like microphone, and Neptune's kind of just like bringing a lot of like fantasy, sensitivity, like mystical, spiritual stuff into the air. Like this is gonna be kind of like I would say like not really understanding everything that's like what you're hearing at this time. Like it's gonna be a little confusing in a way. I hope that I hope that's a very good explanation of how that transit. So okay, so after that we're gonna get probably one of the toughest transits of the month is Mars and Aquarius forming this square aspect to Uranus and Taurus. I feel like about a week ago, from at least from this point of view, Mars was making a square to Jupiter. Mars is right here in the sign of Aquarius. It was forming a square to Jupiter last at the end of April, and that was kind of just like overdoing it. Mars is a planet of action, doing things, going get it. Going to like it's our energy, it's our ambitions to go after things, and whenever Jupiter is involved, it is just expands and makes everything much bigger than it actually is. So maybe towards that transit, you were doing a little bit too much. Maybe you got a little bit exhausted. So I would say this is like having Mars squaring Uranus would probably be a little bit more exhausting, but just you're disrupting certain things that get in your way. Uranus in the first week of March is like there's a lot of disruptive energy that goes on, and through our relationships, with Venus squaring Uranus, and then the planet of action, doing things, there's going to be maybe things getting in our way that we have to like, kind of like, go around or stuff like that, or something's going to get in our way, so to say. And we're going to have to find some adjustments or like different routes, different approaches to do certain things, even if things feel a little bit chaotic or disruptive or something. Because Mars in Aquarius kind of goes like against the norm. It's a little different from like Mars in Capricorn or any other placement. But like I said, any placement in Aquarius, it's very outsider. It's very innovative. It does something like it does, things differently than what other people do. So, but like yeah, so that's kind of like the vibe that I'm getting for Mars square Uranus. So the next thing is kind of like the Sun basically is forming a sextile to Uranus as Mars is squaring Uranus. So that could be another hopeful adjustment of like trying something new. being a little, yeah, just trying something new, basically. That's all I could really say about that. It's a little sextile, stuff like that. The next thing, I should actually put it on the whiteboard, is Mercury is going to be entering Aries. Okay, I need to find my black marker. Hold on. Where's my black marker? Hold on. I guess I can use this one. Okay. So Mercury is now in Aries at this point. That's kind of a crappy Mercury. Let me actually redo that. Okay, we'll just put that there. Okay, so Mercury enters Aries by the 9th of March. Mercury in Aries, this is a great time. Like, okay, so Mercury in Pisces is very just like, it's in its fall, a sign of fall. It doesn't really understand too much of like how it expresses itself. It's in a Jupiter ruled sign. It's in this like boundless, open-minded kind of world, very emotional, not really like detail. It's very big picture stuff. And it's kind of hard for Mercury, or I guess as the transit's happening, it's kind of difficult for us to like really communicate like very specific things. We're just kind of like going off of intuitive, like intuitive feelings. So when Mercury gets into Aries, that's like fast paced, like to the point kind of communication. It's very direct. It is like, I'm not gonna like, it doesn't, what's the word? Beat around the bush, basically. It's just like, it's to the point. It's boom, boom, boom. Like, it's kind of like cutthroat. Like, it's very sharp when it's in Aries. It's almost like when Mercury's in Scorpio, because it's the two Mars ruled signs. So it's a very like, sharp kind of just like direct kind of vibe to it. But yeah, so Mercury enters the sign of Aries by the 9th. What's important about this, I should say, before we kind of like move on. So Mercury's going to be going retrograde in the sign of Aries. And that's basically going to, get us towards the Mercury shadow period into the Mercury retrograde. That's going to be happening in April. So this is a very important, kind of like preview of what we're going to be expecting as we kind of shift from March to April when Mercury does its retrograde, cycle, dance, or whatever you want to call it. So just pay attention of what happens, not really like right away, but just like I said, towards the 20th of March onward into April, that's going to be like where things are going to start slowing down, and we're going to need to pay attention to the changes that are going to be happening for all of us. Or there's going to be a lot of delays and stuff like that, but we'll get to that as we get towards the end of the month. The next thing happening will be this new moon in Pisces. So actually, let me bring this up a bit. Okay. So let's kind of change where the moon's at right now. So the moon was in Sagittarius while I was recording this, but now we're going to be going towards the new moon in Pisces, which happens on March 10th. So this is kind of an important, there's some things that I want to talk about. So, let's just kind of go step by step. So when the moon's in Pisces, it's very fluid. It's very emotional. It's very adaptable. It's very just kind of just, it adapts to its environment, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? That's kind of like the Pisces vibe. It's a very adaptable blending into wherever it's at. So it's like the true water sign that I've heard from other astrologers. Or yeah, so it's very adaptable, it's very fluid, it's very all this stuff. So we're going to be very sensitive as well. New moons. What are new moons? It's when the sun and moon are basically conjunct each other in the same sign. When the luminaries, the sun and the moon, when they're in opposite signs, that's when they have a full moon. So it's kind of like a little tip. I'm pretty sure all of you know about that, so I don't have to explain it anymore. Anyways, what are new moons? New moons are times of, to plant new seeds, as they say, set new intentions. These are the intentions of Pisces. What are Pisces? It's a water sign. It's a very dreamy sign. It's a very escapism, fantasy kind of vibe, introverted, empathetic, like spiritual, let's see, yeah, like stuff like that. It can be, you know, a little deceptive or poetic or artistic and creative in that way. So just and set those intentions wherever Pisces rules in your chart. Like if you're in Aries rising, as this is basically from, you know, a normal chart, this is going to be in your 12th house and stuff like that. So just to give an example, I mean, I have my notes here about the houses. So Aries rising, people who are having this in the 12th house, this is going to be, you know, having you to reset like your intentions of like, you know, when it comes to spirituality or just like ending old cycles or maybe, you know, letting go of old addictions or just any like blind spots that you don't really need. This is could be, you know, you could be getting a lot of like subconscious dreams or subconscious messages at this times through your dreams. So pay attention to that or something like that. So this is a little example, but like, and let's just give another example. If this new moon is happening in your, I don't know, like let's just say fourth house. So this would be a Sagittarius rising. So I'm a Sagittarius. This is actually happening in my fourth house. So let's just kind of, I can just read for myself. If this is happening in your fourth house, this is going to be, you know, having you reset, you know, your intentions when it comes to home, family, your private life, your property, the foundation you build your, you know, your life on, stuff like that. You know, you're like a lot of home and family stuff. I'll do one more and then we'll move on. This what if this new moon is happening? Let's just say in your eighth house or something. That would make you. I think that would make you a Leo rising. Yeah, yeah. Leo rising would be okay. So that would be Leo rising. If you, I literally just said all the fire signs. That's kind of weird. I didn't mean to do it like that, but I'm just kind of I guess I could do a couple more after this, but whatever. So if you're Leo rising, this could be, you know, happening in your eighth house to do with like shared resources, psychology, the eighth house is like the deeper connections that you have with your relationships. This is like rules like intimacy, intimate partners, intimate connections, inheritance, death related issues. It could involve death, but it could be something that's like transforming in a type of death way. If you are, let's just say, if you are Taurus rising, this is happening in your 11th house. So if you're a Taurus rising, this new moon is going to be happening in the 11th house of you know, communities, opportunities, your hopes and dreams, your life goals in this lifetime, friendships, colleagues, people you work with, like groups and people, a lot of things changing around, you know, that stuff. I'll do one more and then we'll move on. If you are, let's say, a Libra rising, so this is happening in your sixth house, this would, you know, have you resetting your intentions to do with like health related matters, your work schedule, like how you provide service for other people. This could, you know, include, you know, something to do with your coworkers, something to do with like signing leases or like fitness training and stuff like that. I'm just going to do one more. If you're Capricorn rising, this is happening in your third house. So this is, I might as well should just do the whole thing, I guess, right? You think, guys? Maybe. I don't know. I'll do this and then we'll move on because I got okay, so Cap rising. This is kind of just like resetting the intentions to like when it comes to like third house is a lot of stuff. So it can represent siblings, your immediate environment, your transportation, education, like basic education, how you were grew up, how like close friends, the way you communicate, your social life, social media, rituals, devices, writing projects, stuff like that. So here there was a few examples of like where this is happening in your chart for this new moon. So yeah, set those new intentions. One last thing before I move on, because this is actually what I needed to talk about. So this new moon, whatever happens around March 10th, just pay attention to this date because in 6 months from now, in like September, we're going to have a full moon in Pisces. The sun's going to be in Virgo, it's going to be Virgo season, and then we're going to have the full moon in Pisces. But why is that important? It's because these nodes, the lunar nodes, the north node is actually going to move a little closer towards the sign of Pisces, and then the south node will move kind of backwards towards Virgo. It won't get into those signs yet, but I think it's like September, like the middle of September. I don't know the date exactly, but that's going to be like a partial lunar eclipse in Pisces, and that's kind of going to give you like a preview. I guess you can even say starting from this point on, from March 10th on to like, the next couple of years, because the lunar nodes will shift into Virgo and Pisces for 2025, 2026. Yeah, I think like for a year and a half, it's usually. So I know I'm kind of all over the place, but this was like very important that I really needed to talk about. So whatever happens around the middle of March or somewhere around the March, it's going to culminate to 6 months later, full moon in Virgo, full moon in Pisces, my mistake, and it's going to be kind of near the north node. Not exactly, so it won't be like a total eclipse or whatever. It's going to be a full moon eclipse, but it's going to be a partial eclipse. So it's like a little sneak peek of what we're going to be going through when it comes to like the Pisces and Virgo transits of like when the nodes are switching signs. I hope that makes sense. It's a very important time, just believe me. Okay, anyways, I know I'm like, this is like 20, whatever. I don't care how long this video is. So the next thing that happens is our good friend Venus is entering one of her favorite signs, Pisces. So let's change it on the chart here. So Venus loves to be in Pisces. She is exalted here. I'll just put her right here. Oh, that's kind of, hold on. She's exalted in the sign of Pisces. So this is going to be a little, like give us a little bit of extra, I guess, happiness, I guess you could say. It could be a lot more ease. It's going to be very, Venus and Pisces. She loves the Vienna. She's exalted there. She's very like this. That's very unconditional kind of love for Venus and Pisces. If you have this placement, you attract a lot of people. You kind of blend into many relationships. You can be a little deceptive. It can be like Venus and Pisces is like rose-colored glasses type of energy. And it's like you want just like you're hopeless romantics out there. I know a few people that have Venus and Pisces, and they are very hopeless romantic people. They just put it all in. They're all for it, all or nothing kind of energy. So, but that's not a bad thing. The transit is going to be lovely. This is going to bring a lot of more connections. When it comes to relationships, when it comes to expressing love. It's going to be a lot easier to just just enjoy stuff. Venus is not in her home sign of Taurus or Libra, but she has that exalted rulership while she's in Pisces, and it's just like a sweet feeling. Like here, hold on, there's a glare on the okay, but yeah, there's kind of like it's a very sweet transit. Like, so if your love is kind of like going a little, it's not very, I guess going well, maybe like the past month or whatever, or if you're in whatever relationship, I feel like this will help a lot of us. Like not even relationships, but just connections in general. I think it'll just be more like easier to just like get along. I guess for the most part. Maybe some people won't. Maybe this will be challenging for them, but just in general, it's a sweet transit. It's probably so just enjoy it. Like enjoy Venus and Pisces because it only lasts about a month. And I don't know, I feel like I can go on and on about that, but let's move on. So not really a lot goes on the second week of March. Then the sun will make a conjunction to Neptune. That is basically kind of, followed by what Mercury was when Mercury made a conjunction to Neptune. But the sun shining the light on Neptune. Neptune is getting purified, going into the heart of the sun. This is going to be a very spiritual time, you know, very like intuitive, like kind of just blending yourself into like whatever, you know, it could be good or bad, you know, whatever, however way you take that. Um, I feel like when I've experienced a lot of, you know, Sun Neptune conjunctions in the past, when I've been, you know, following the astrology, it's been just very just like foggy, you know. I feel like not really foggy, with like it's a fogginess, but like it's a very just kind of just lost in like your own world kind of vibe. I don't know. I don't know. How do you guys feel it? Maybe it's different, but that's how I kind of feel it. You know, how I've experienced like sun. Whenever sun is like whenever I would just say the sun conjunct, because whenever the sun makes that other aspects or whatever, I guess you could say trines or sextiles could be a little very sensitive too, but like this could also be very creative as well. Like you could be more creative in how you express yourself, how you shine your light, stuff like that. You know, I feel like that's just kind of like, you know, that's the vibe to that. That's what I'm getting. All right, as we get to one of the last weeks of March, so Mercury is going to be forming a conjunction to the North Node, followed by basically Aries season, and then followed by Mercury entering its shadow. So let's just kind of like, you know, erase the sun for now. I'll erase the moon because I'm going to change that in a second. Okay, so Mercury on the North Node. Mercury on the North Node. Let me get a drink of water real quick. When Mercury passes over the North Node, Mercury. What is Mercury? Mercury is the planet of communication, how we process information. You know, exchangements. You know, this in the North Node is basically the point where where we're headed towards. It's kind of like our like the direction we're heading towards, whatever wherever Aries rules in your chart. So this is going to be a very important, you know, message that you receive at this time that really like gives you a glimpse of the future, or you could say glimpse of the future, or just glimpse of like where you're heading into. Mercury and Aries is going to be very like fast-paced kind of thinking, as well as the North Node ramping that Aries, you know, initiative, fiery energy. So this can be very explosive. You know, this can be very confrontational. Is, you know, you could get, you know, into fights maybe or something like that. Not saying that's gonna happen, but that's kind of like the Aries energy. It's very confrontational. It's very like I'm doing this, you know, cutthroat kind of energy, stuff like that. Aries is also the energy of like doing things first, or wanting to be the first one to do something. Just a little keywords or whatever. But yeah, pay attention as we get towards like the end of the month, you know. And then I said the sun goes into Aries. That's Aries season. It's spring, you know, it's spring in the northern hemisphere. So yeah, I mean, the sun's exalted in Aries. The sun loves to be in Aries. This is like the point where we can like initiate these things and like start new projects, start something new. Just be more ambitious. Have all this life force energy, you know, ramp up from this point on. You know, the sun in Aries is kind of like people who have the sun in Aries are people that like to show other people what they can do in a way. I mean, the sun is exalted, so it loves to be in Aries. The sun rules Leo, which is, you know, about, you know, summertime basically. It's the middle of summer. It's the hottest point of the year. So, and then when the sun's in Aquarius, it's in its detriment. It's like the coldest part of the year basically. So, little side note. But when the sun gets into Aries, it's like now I can do what I want to do. This is really initiating, just giving you this fiery, this oomph, this like push to just like get things going. You know, it's Aries season, it's spring. You know, things are starting. There's new life at this point. You know, so a lot of it, like if you're, I don't know, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time. I'm like stuttering. Jeez. Anyways, moving on. So Sun's in Aries for the next 30 days. Okay, next important thing that we've been kind of talking about. March 20th. What did I say? And what was going on March 20th? Mercury will enter its shadow on March 20th. It will enter its territory where it will go back to at basically the end of April, basically. So pay attention to what happens around March 20th because your plans will be changed. There's going to start being delays. You could be dealing with miscommunications. You could be dealing with, glitches with technology. This wouldn't be the time to sign any contracts from this point on. Like, this is like slow down time. Like, hit the brakes. We've gone way too fast. Let's start to like slow down because our turn is about to, come up basically. That's literally what you could say, like figuratively or whatever. So like from March 20th through the rest of the month, yes, pay attention to what happens. This is because Mercury will come back to this spot. Like he's conjunct Chiron at this point too. He'll be kind of near Chiron and then come back to Chiron when he goes direct in April and stuff. At this point. So Mercury conjunct Chiron. What is Chiron? Chiron's all about. Chiron's the wounded healer. It's where our our pains are. What's our most painful spot in the sky. Wherever you have Chiron is where this shows a lot of pain, but this also shows how you can heal that pain. So Chiron, it was I guess in like the story of Chiron is like he's a centaur and he got shot with an arrow or something in the leg and he wasn't able to heal that wound that the whatever that when he got shot or something in the leg and I that's kind of like the vibe of it, you know what I mean? It's like you have a certain area of your life and maybe there's been a lot of pain through like whatever, like if you're looking at a chart and you have Chiron, you're like, oh, you have Chiron in the in the first house. It's kind of hard to explain or like I guess like be yourself or whatever or like show yourself off, but you actually have the key. Chiron looks like a key, and that's another kind of funny thing. Chiron's like the key to that healing, healing all those pains basically. Kind of think about that. Like I have Chiron in Libra, and it's you could say it's okay if you're looking at full whole sign house, it's in the 11th house, and I feel like I've always had kind of like tough 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 relationships, not really understanding how to like work with them, but I've also kind of healed. I feel like a lot of people as I've been in those relationships. It's kind of weird. So this kind of giving you an example of me. You know what I mean? Where do you have Chiron now? Like think about that. Research that. So Mercury conjunct Chiron. Going back to this, this can be something like communicating something, and you're like finding more healing. You're healing some type of way of like the way you think, the way you express your thoughts, the way you communicate ideas or process information is a lot easier. Or it could be very painful, or the opposite, of what I just said. It can be very painful of what you're hearing, and you're like, oh, I can't deal with that. That's tough to hear, blah blah blah, stuff like that. So, and just pay attention to this because Mercury's going to come back to this. So it's like maybe something you hear or something goes on around March 20th. It'll kind of come back and you'll be like, oh, so that's kind of what I had to like redo and go back over, or that's what I needed to pay attention to in order to basically move on and heal from all those, wherever Chiron sits in your chart. It's a good example, I should say. Okay, so the next thing happening is Venus will form a conjunction to Saturn. This is going to be an interesting transit. Venus is in its exalted sign of Pisces, so she's loving this time. She's having fun. She's having a good old time. But when she comes to that conjunction with Saturn, this is going to bring like kind of like a damper on what's enjoyable. Because Saturn, not all the time Saturn's going to be tough to handle, but this is kind of like maybe to do with like maybe you need to take things more serious at this point instead of having more fun when it comes to relationships, responsibilities, your duties in life, your finances and stuff like that. Um, all this stuff. So just kind of just like think about like, that, when Venus forms that conjunction around the 21st of March, yeah, there's going to be maybe a little bit of more seriousness that we need to really take care of, um, which could be good or bad. This is really looking at your long-term commitments, long-term goals, and really saying, does this fit into what's gonna basically culminate later on in life? Will this relationship, will these finances, will these, things that attract us or what we find pleasurable, will these be, will these, um, be a part of, testing time, will this be good for time for us? I'm like trying to spit that out. The test of time. That's what I'm like trying to say. So look at your commitments. Look at these agreements, like relationships. This is going to be a really serious time. It's not going to be easy, but it could be, like this could provide a lot of like, just more seriousness to focus on. So the next thing happening on the 22nd of March is Mars is going into Pisces. So let's, erase him right here. So lonely Pluto is in hold on, my red marker's right here. Lonely Pluto is in Aquarius, and then Mars will enter Pisces. Mars in Pisces is an interesting transit, I would say. I believe what I've heard from other astrologers that Mars has triplicity rulership in Pisces because it does really good in its own sign of Scorpio, but it doesn't do good in Cancer. It's in its fall in Cancer. And what I've been thinking about when I've been kind of like, trying to plan all this out and think about the transits of Mars going into Pisces, and I feel like because like Pisces is like a mutable sign, it's an adaptable sign. It's kind of like in the middle of this is Scorpio's a fixed sign. It's a very it's its home sign of Scorpio. Mars loves being Scorpio, and it's it's very fixed. It's very just like whatever. And then Cancer, it doesn't like to be in Cancer. It's in its fall. It's like it does. It's like kind of the more weakened part. Like Mars is more, I guess, more weak, you could say, in Cancer. It has more strength in Scorpio. So when Mars is in Pisces, it's kind of like that in between kind of like energy, I guess you could say. I've been kind of trying to describe that, and I've been thinking about that too. Mars in Pisces. I feel like what I've learned about people that have Mars in Pisces, they don't have all of this ambition. They don't have all this ambitious energy that I guess other Mars signs has if it's in another chart or whatever, or another sign or whatever. Mars and Pisces kind of just goes with the flow. If it's really ambitious about something, it'll do it, but only if it wants to do it. It's kind of like, I don't want to. I'm not going to listen to what other people tell me to do. I'll see how I feel about that. I feel like that's what I kind of get from Mars and Pisces. I don't know, which can be a good or bad thing. Not saying it's a horrible transit if you have it, like good for you. But so Mars is going to be in the sign of Pisces for the following 6 weeks at this time. So basically all of April. Maybe it enters Aries. I think it enters Aries by the end of April. So that's going to be a fun transit when Mars enters Aries. Hallelujah. I'm excited about that. Okay, so let's move on. So the next thing happening is Jupiter is going to be ending its retrograde shadow period, or no, period, but it's going to be ending its retrograde shadow territory, I should say. So it's like Mercury's entering its pre-shadow retrograde territory, where it'll be at, when it goes direct, because of the retrograde. But Jupiter is ending its like retrograde shadow, post-shadow, I should say. So from basically December 30th or 31st, wherever location Jupiter went direct at for those 2 days at the end of the last year, December 30th to the 31st, all the way through March 23rd was basically that third pass that Jupiter has basically gone over in the sign of Taurus. Excuse me. So Jupiter went into Taurus. It was like, I don't know what date, but it was in May of 2023. I think it was like the middle of May or something. So Jupiter went into Taurus in May. So, and then it went basically all the way to like 15 degrees of Taurus, stationed retrograde on like in September, the beginning of September, and then from September, October, November, and December, the last 4 months of 2023, it went all the way back and then stationed at 5 degrees of Taurus. So, and then basically what I just explained from December 30th through March 23rd was basically the third pass of Jupiter finishing its post-retrograde territory of like what it's been doing, being in that part of the sky, being in that part of our charts, wherever Taurus rules, I should say, that's being finalized, that's being completed. We've done the growth, we've done the work, everything, whatever opportunities were handed to us, we basically worked it. We were basically, benefited, if that's the word, benefited, benefic, whatever. Jupiter is a benefic planet, so it's a very positive, hopeful kind of planet. So whatever good things that have been coming, coming to you or you've been working towards since last May, this is like the point of like, okay, now we're in new territory. Now we're going to be doing like getting the rest of like the growth that Jupiter in Taurus can provide. And one important thing, Jupiter is with Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Jupiter will form that conjunction they will come together in April. And that I think it's like April 19th, April 20th or whatever, April 21st, somewhere around there. That's going to be like huge explosions. Like that's going to be like liberating opportunities from that's going to be a huge point in time. And this is kind of like March is like the build-up, basically. I mean, it's been building up since Jupiter went direct this last December. So just pay attention. After the 23rd of, basically not even after the 23rd, but just throughout this month and into April, you're going to see this transit building up. And there's, Jupiter is about growth, opportunities, expansion, the higher mind, philosophies, religions, and stuff like that. Uranus is about instability. It's about liberation. It's about, it can be chaotic energy, but it can also, shake you out of your normal routines or whatever. It kind of like, it's that shock, it's that lightning strike, it's that boom, like, whoa, didn't see that coming. That's kind of Uranus. So think about just what I just said. And with having Jupiter, the planet of growth and expansion and opportunities, forming a conjunction to the planet of like unpredictability and shock and awe, there's going to be a lot of crazy things happening, good or bad, from this point on. Like wherever you have Jupiter in Taurus in your chart, pay attention to that. That's going to give you like just explosions of like just many new exciting things. Like you can't really say anything bad about Jupiter and Uranus. Like I feel like this is going to be one of the biggest transits of the whole year, like hands down. Like we've had some pretty rough, conjunctions in the past, let's just say since 2020. I wonder what happened in 2020. That's when we had Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter in the sign of Capricorn. And then we pretty much know what kind of happened, as 2020 unfolded, I should say. But that's all gone now, that's in the past. Pluto's in Aquarius, Pluto's in a new sign. Like we don't even know what really Pluto in Aquarius is it right now, like what it's going to bring. We can kind of see little glimpses. But I'm just thinking, I'm just trying to give you the overview of what's of what's coming this year. Like this year is really like just there's a lot of things like that. It's just that Jupiter Uranus thing. Like that conjunction is just it really highlights the whole year basically, as well as Saturn getting closer to Neptune. That's another thing that's like really like, oh my god, like they're not gonna make a conjunction until like February 2026, but they're co-present in the sign of Pisces, and they have been since March 2023 when Saturn entered Pisces. And Saturn's gonna get like 10 degrees, like near Neptune. 19 degrees, it'll stop and go retrograde, and then Neptune will be at like 29 or something. Like Neptune's almost done with Pisces. That's what's crazy too, you know. Okay, I gotta move on. So the last couple things, we have this little sextile of Venus sextile Jupiter. That's a very sweet, you know, aspect that can create, you know, a lot of growth and stuff like that. One thing I want to say about this Venus sextile Jupiter is Venus and Jupiter are in mutual reception. That means they're in each other's signs. They're making contact with each other. They're like, hey, we're cool that we're in each other's signs. You know, it's basically kind of like swapping in a way. Like they can swap. I hope that makes sense. Like Venus, because Jupiter is in Venus's home sign of Taurus. Venus rules Taurus, okay? And then Venus is in Pisces. Jupiter rules Pisces. So it's like, okay, now we're in each other's homes and we're like talking on the phone or chatting, hey, blah, blah, blah. Um, they're like enjoying, they're having a lot of enjoyment. You know what I mean? This can bring a lot of enjoyment. It's a sextile, it's a very small gesture, something not so big is going to happen, but it's a lovely transit. It's like, oh man, this feels nice. You know, this is a very nice transit, you know? It's a sweet spot of the month, basically. And so, you know, after Venus passes over that conjunction to Saturn, things can start getting a little bit more, you know, fun again, basically. So, you know, it's going to build up like when Venus goes into Pisces, it's going to be like, yeah, it's fun. We're having a good time. And then it gets close to Saturn. It's like, oh, we've been kind of blocked. We've been stopped. We've been, you know, like, oh, reality check. Oh, man, we have to get serious now, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, after that, it's like, okay, now once it like, makes that sextile to Jupiter, it's like okay, now things feel a lot easier. Like things we can breathe now. Like after that, it's kind of that's how I see that. And then basically after that, Venus will make a sextile to Uranus at the last couple days. That could be a little exciting just as well as like the Venus sextile Jupiter and stuff like that. But one last thing, the 25th of March, the lunar eclipse. It's going to be a partial eclipse, but it's still considered an eclipse. So let me draw this out on the chart. So sun's in Aries, and then we got the moon. How's that? That's kind of a... Okay, let me redo that. The moon's going to be in Libra. Oh, that's a little better. Okay, so this lunar eclipse in Libra. I'm done with the chart, so let me just set this here for a sec. Okay, sun's in Aries, moon's in Libra, lunar eclipse in Libra. So this is a full moon. Like I said earlier during the month, when the sun and moon are together, it's in the same sign, they're conjunct, that's a new moon. When the sun and moon are opposite each other, that's a full moon. That's what makes a full moon. Oh, wow. Anyways, so what are full moons? Let's just kind of do what we did with the new moons, but the full moons. So the full moon is basically culminating point. It's illuminating point. It's the moon, getting to its fullest. It's shining. It's reflecting all of the light from the sun, as it's been getting fuller and fuller since the new moon, basically. So whatever intentions you started during the new moon in Pisces, this is basically 2 weeks later. It's culminating. It's getting, it's being shown. It's being, shown. It's being, it's in the spotlight now. So, but Libra, when the moon's in Libra, this is about, feeling, trying to bring more harmony and connections in your relationships. This is kind of, getting more, wanting to be more bringing more diplomacy kind of energy. This can be very friendly. This can be very, balanced, trying to find balance in relationships, trying to feel that balance. Um, what else? Let me see. I do have notes. I could say, fair-mindedness, tactfulness, diplomacy, diplomatic, peaceful. That's another peaceful. Pleasing, relationship-oriented, sees both sides, is like a judge, very, very passive too. It's, it kind of just, it's indecisive as well too. But these are just keywords to, Libra, but like having the moon there is how we feel and express our emotions. So if you want to even look like a little further and like a little bigger in the picture, think of what happened 6 months from this point on, when we had the solar eclipse in Libra, the first one of this, Aries Libra cycle that the North Node and the South Node have been in since last summer. We had the first solar eclipse in Libra. It was like maybe the middle of October, the beginning of October, somewhere around there. That was like like a starting point, but it was on the South Node, which was basically kind of like letting things go and purging old, things to do with Libra relationships, how we, create peace, diplomacy, how we please people, and indecisiveness and stuff like that. So that was a huge change last fall. I'm sure a lot of you have gone through a lot of huge changes during that eclipse season. So this, we're back in this eclipse season, and there's going to be, little keynotes or themes or whatever you want to call it during this full moon in Libra, this lunar eclipse. Things are going to be coming to an end, basically. This is a partial lunar eclipse. It's a full moon lunar eclipse, so that means it's like, okay, it's coming to its fullest, but this is like, oh, this is coming to an end. It's a full moon. It's coming to, it's come and gone, basically. It's come to its fullest, now it's done. You know what I mean? So whatever themes to do with relationships and stuff like that, like, let's just, kind of go through if this full moon is in your 10th house and you are Cap rising, this is going to be something in your career is really going to, either you're letting go of an old career or you're finally realizing, what goals you needed to do or achieve to get, I guess, past this old period of career or profession that you've maybe worked in or something. If this new moon is happening in your 5th house, that would make you a Gemini rising. This could be, letting go of like old hobbies. Your relationships to children will change at this time. What you find pleasure, like pleasures and stuff, your self-expressions could change from this point on. If this lunar eclipse is happening in your 2nd house, that would make you a Virgo rising. This would be, letting go of like stuff to do with finances, what you value, what's your priorities, and what possessions or personal resources that you have. Maybe they're changing at this time. If you have this full moon in the 9th house, which would make you an Aquarius rising, this would be, kind of letting go of like old philosophical truths, or just like religious stuff, or just foreign travels or foreign cultures mainly. A lot of things would be changing, or maybe like higher educational stuff. You're either letting go of or you're completing if you've been maybe taking college classes or learning at any educational schools or something. So that's a few things that I can say, but yeah, that's basically it. That's basically March. So yeah, this is a huge month, guys. Even though it's like certain things might not seem like a big deal, this is going to be building up to we're in the eclipse season, and then the Mercury retrograde is going to happen as we get into April and stuff like that. So I'm kind of glad I did this new thing, like explain, where the houses and where these new moons and full moons and lunations are falling into in our charts. I feel like that's a good example or a good way of doing this, just kind of teach more in a better way or something. So I think this was a pretty success. I hope you guys enjoy, what I did, the setup, showing you the calendar, giving you little tips on where these lunations are at, stuff like that. I mean, I guess I could go a little deeper into like where these planets fall, maybe in another video or something like that. But I think what I'll mainly focus on is like these lunations, and we'll talk about where these are falling, which houses these are falling into in our birth charts. So let's just say that's about it. If you want to check out the merch, I'll put the link in the description below. If you are a follower of my Patreon, you will probably get the links maybe a little earlier than what is coming than what I post on social media. Basically, that there's two promotions that I'm having in March. There's a 20% off from like the 7th of March through the 12th. I think it's a 20% off. I believe it's that, and then the other promotion I'm having is a free standard shipping sale. And I don't know if it's the first one's a free standard shipping or the second one. I think it might be the second one. But that one I think is like the 20th or the 21st through like the 25th or 6th or something like that. There's a couple promotions I'm going to be offering, so I'll be posting that on my Patreon probably a couple days before, or give you a little early access, or just kind of plan it for that period or whatever. So if you want to check that out, if you like the video, please like. I probably will end up posting this on YouTube maybe in a few days or something. But yeah, so if you want to follow for more videos, follow for more videos. I think you won't regret it. I think this has been pretty fun doing this, and I'm excited to continue doing this every month or as much as I can. I know I've been a little busy lately and I haven't had time to do this, but hey, I'll do it when I have the time, and I'm pretty sure this was a fun lesson to actually record. So yeah, this is your monthly overview, astrological month of March, whatever. Yeah, okay. I hope you enjoy this, and we'll see you in the next video. Catch you later, guys.